Welcome to the Political Ferret Show. New content will be uploaded every Wednesday and Sunday. This video was financed by my Patreons. Thank you for making the change possible. A lot of people point out that capitalism is worse than socialism in like everything, because in socialism the environment would be better, the workers are happier and richer and so on. And we today try to tackle exactly that. We accept this premise for today. Socialism is better than hierarchical capitalism. What do I mean with socialism? The worker have a lot to say within the company. The boss man is not the almighty god, king, whatever. And there is of course a lot of solidarity within these groups. So I point out the framework and how to reach then socialism in the end, if this all is true. I have some issues with this idea because I don't think that this is true, but if it is true, we will find the way to the result a lot of people want to have. So let's take an average country, and let's say in this average country some guy comes along and say, I'm now the boss guy, I buy some land, I buy some machines, and then I shout out, come over, work for me for free. And nothing happens, and then he says, okay, come over, I give you some money, and then the people come and work for him. I mean, he gives them as little as he can so that he can become a really rich, dirty capitalist bastard. But then two other guys come along and say, we do it differently. We now also get some land, we get some machines, and then we share the work, we share the profits, and when somebody else wants to play with us, he can do that too. And this company will be then better because a socialist company is better than a capitalist company, as we stated before. So we have now a basically capitalist land, and in this capitalist land there is a capitalist company, but there is also a socialist company. So if we have now multiple capitalistic companies and one socialistic company, the capitalist companies might do good, but when a socialist company does better because the workers are happier and more productive and so on, some other companies will have to adopt their policies because they want to make money after all. And there will be some people who want to say, well, but what if they boycott the socialist companies? No, this is not how capitalists work. You see, capitalists want to make money, and if they can get their stuff cheaper in the socialistic company, they couldn't care less where they get their stuff from. They would buy from them. So if we go even one step further and there is an absolutely communistic company around, and this communistic company makes even more money, well, a lot of companies will swing over to be communist companies. So you have now in a capitalistic society an ever-growing amount of socialistic companies, and they become then somewhat dominant. It doesn't mean that the nation itself becomes socialist. It means that the entities within it are socialist and will therefore change the whole nature of the nation slowly but surely. What you have to do is you have to take care that the government can't take money from the now very competitive and very successful socialistic companies and take then the money to bail out these non-profitable capitalistic companies anymore. You have to take care that the government can't redistribute money from one entity to another. This is quite important. So now that we set the stage, we now look into these companies and how they would work or could work and what the challenges would be. The thing is, in a company, not all the people will say the same thing. So some people will say yes, some people will say no, and you have now to find out what you want to do. So the first approach is, of course, you just count the numbers and say, okay, if more people are against it, then we say no to the whole issue. But it is not that easy. You see, if we talk about leadership skills, and leadership means not just that one stands in front of all the others with a crown on his head and leads the people. If you have a group of 5 people and they have to find a decision that is good for all five lead. Leadership is not something that is meant with status and with one person. It means when you decide, you lead. The thing is, there are 2 key things for leadership. The first one is ability. Not everyone is able to lead. Some people are more able to lead, some people are less able to lead. this has to do with different things, from charisma to experience and so on. Not everybody is fit to lead. And then is there another thing, that is the willingness to lead. It is not enough to be able to lead. You have to step forth and say, I lead this group now. I want to lead you. I want to lead myself. I want to be part of the leading group. The willingness to lead is not always linked to the ability. It is very often not in the slightest. You have some people who are very able to lead, not willing, and you have some people who are absolutely not able, but very willing to lead. You find these people often in politics. So if we are already talking about people who take responsibility and are willing to do something great, I want to give a shout out to my two patrons at this very moment, Jeremy and Tim. Thanks for helping me out. It really makes a difference. So again, if we talk about willingness, normally in a company you will find a distribution of willingness, that the highest willingness is on the top level. You see those people who say, I want to lead, they move forward. You have some people who also want to lead, but they are lower in the company because they have not the skills, not the education, something like that. But if we now talk about ability, here the trouble is really starting, because you have some people who are very able in the lower ranks and you have some people who are not very able in the high ranks. And the reason for this are different things, but mostly it is the willingness. People who say, I am willing to work the extra hour to reach this goal, to lead then, is more important than to really be able. We addressed this in the Peter principle in another video before. So you might then say, okay, we check the ability and then we just ignore those people who are loudly in the whole decision process but not very able, and we concentrate only on the guys who are very able. But this is not so easy. So in a classical system you have the boss man, and the boss man says where to go. And a lot of people pointed out that in a more democratic process you have more voices, you have more nuance, you have more possibilities, and the ability to reach a conclusion that is better is often better in a democratic process. And this is absolutely right. I also did a video a long time ago about that. So, but the problem here is, again, that some people are not really fit to find a good decision. They think they have a good idea, but the idea is indeed not really good. But the problem is that leadership is, as we stated before, not distributed equally. Some people will find leadership decisions that are not good in essence. They might be good from a technical standpoint, but they are not good leadership decisions. So you can go back then to pretty much your polling system and then say, okay, we ignore these ideas because they are not good leadership ideas, and then you concentrate on those people who are really good in leading. The thing is, this is what we do in the industry. We take out the people who are really good in leading and then form groups and then discuss this stuff and then find viable solutions for the company. Companies who do that outperform the companies with one boss man who dictates everything, but they also outperform those companies who do everything on a democratic process without checking the ability of the people who talk with the whole thing. Imagine brain surgeon who take in the janitor and ask him his opinion. He's not qualified. You have to check qualification. The interesting thing is now that when you have a nation that gives you a framework that is in essence capitalistic, which means we protect your borders, we ensure that you can't be harmed. If the socialistic idea is better than the capitalist idea, if the workers are more happy, more productive, more efficient, and so on, within a capitalistic society, the socialist company would become dominant. And this would lead to a situation where you can talk pretty much about a socialistic country, because when all live in collectives, in smaller collectives, it doesn't mean you have to live in a collective of 100 million people. It might be a collective of just 200 people, but this is enough. From the standpoint of a socialist, this has to be enough. If you want to have that, and if you think that socialism is better than capitalism, you have to strive towards a system where the state has no chance to redistribute money, but because in such a situation they would take money from the socialistic companies and move it to the capitalistic companies. And this is not what you want. So the funny idea is now, if it is right, if socialism is better than everything, you have to strive for a capitalist nation. This might sound strange, but this is the case. If you say no, this is not right, you have to agree that socialism is not better than capitalism, that capitalism works better for the worker, with the worker, and the worker happiness is in the end better, and the efficiency is better, or something is better but something is worse. But the thing is, it's evolution. Evolution means that those who are fittest come through. It's not that the best comes through, it is that the fittest who can adapt to a problem in the moment, those guys make the cut. And this happens pretty much from my perspective with capitalism. I mean, I come from a left background and I accepted this reality that capitalism is for the average guy better than socialism. So the question that you have to think through is it worth to go with a system that is not better than the alternative system? If socialism would be better, it would be dominant by now. So it stands to reason that socialism is not better than capitalism. And if you try to force that the state takes control over the companies, you then say that socialism is indeed not better, not competitive, not really able to be more efficient and good as a socialistic company. And if you say that, you really have to think if you're playing the right team. Thanks for watching.